This clip contrasts two views, each with Orwellian undertones. Both from this week. The first half is the way the United States sees Australia right now. The second half of the clip shows how Australia sees the US. Which is more tragic? Take a look, and decide for yourself.
Well, here are the numbers. From mid-July until last week, the entire nation of Australia, that's 25 million people, has averaged about 1.5 COVID deaths per day out of 25 million people. And that has been enough to justify the end of Australia and totalitarianism. In one recent case, which really does say it all, authorities executed rescue dogs, shot the dogs to death to prevent Australian dog lovers from traveling to adopt the dogs. Leaving your home is no longer allowed. So they just killed the dogs. And the population put up with it. They were told they had to. Nightly news in Australia now looks like a science fiction film.
He wasn't done there. There's more, much more.
One Australian news outlet just reported, and we're quoting, "A tip to Crime Stoppers has blown the lid on a church service attended by 60 adults and children. The gathering has been described as selfish and arrogant," end quote, for going to church. So what else in Australia is now considered, quote, selfish and arrogant? It's not just going to church or leaving your apartment or trying to adopt a dog. Watching the sunset is also selfish and arrogant. Watch.
There's a whole bunch of people down the Ryback Beach last night who thought the best thing to do was to go and watch the sunset. I'm sure it was a beautiful sunset. But that's not in the spirit or in the letter of these rules.
Scolded for watching the sunset, executing rescue dogs, a nationwide manhunt for a guy who sneezed alone in an elevator. No one in Australia is laughing at this. No one can stand back far enough to see the lunacy on display. They're too far gone.
And then Tucker took aim at how our police force treat protesters. Now, these protesters have been maligned to the point of being dehumanised by much of the Australian media. But that's not how many overseas see it.
What did I brace? What did I... Someone get Put your hands behind your back! Put your hands behind your back! Put your hands behind your back!
If that were Iran, if that footage was shot in Tehran over the weekend, we'd all tug our chins and say, of course, the mullahs, they're not like us. But it's not Iran, it's not North Korea, it's Australia, what we thought was a rules-based society. What law did I break? You heard the protester ask as he's being beaten and handcuffed.
Then commentator Matt Walsh joined in the discussion, mocking Australia and what we have become.
When it comes to Australia, there is a sort of there's something poetic about seeing the country come full circle and back around to being a prison colony again, which is basically what it is there. And I think when we look at that, what we see, as you pointed out, that if the people will tolerate it, then the people in charge of the country will do it.
And that discussion continued. You might want to check it out yourself. Again, doesn't paint us in the best light. Even his most enthusiastic supporters in the media can no longer hide the pure incompetence and malice of this cognitively impaired joke of a leader.
Thank you. May God bless you all, and may God protect the troops and all those standing watch for America. We have so much to do. It's within our capacity to do it. We just have to remain steadfast. Steadfast. We will complete our mission, and we will continue after our troops have withdrawn, to find means by which we can find any American who wishes to get out of Afghanistan. We will find them and we will get them out. Ladies and gentlemen, they gave me a list here. The first person I was instructed to call on was Kelly O'Donnell of NBC.
He couldn't even deliver a coherent, prepared statement for a minute. And he blurts out that he has to go to the person he was instructed to call on. This is the leader of the free world. They tell him who to call on.